African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of September 2, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Group of troops inflicted defeat on formations of tank, 2 mechanized, airborne assault brigades, an airborne assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Stepno, Kondratovka, Pershitravnya, Varakino, Lesno, Pavlovka, and Unikovka in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, defeat was inflicted on units of mechanized and motorized infantry brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Yudy and Chuganovka in the Kharkiv region. The enemy lost up to 175 servicemen, a tank, an armored combat vehicle, 15 vehicles, and 3 field artillery guns. A radio-electronic warfare station, a counter-battery radar station, an ammunition depot, and 9 supply depots were destroyed. Units of the West Group of troops improved their tactical position. Defeat was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Kupiansk, Glinskoy, Vishay Solnoy, Borovskaya and Drivka in the Kharkiv region and Drobashevo in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of the armed forces of Ukraine amounted to over 240 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 22 vehicles, and an artillery gun. 8 radio-electronic warfare stations and 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. As a result of decisive actions by units of the South Group of troops, the settlement of Fedorovka in the Donetsk People's Republic was liberated. Defeat was inflicted on formations of 3 mechanized, airmobile, airborne assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Seversk, Pozino, Markovo, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost over 205 servicemen, 2 Western-made armored combat vehicles, 7 vehicles, and an artillery gun. 3 radio-electronic warfare stations, an ammunition depot, and a supply depot were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of forces have taken more advantageous lines and positions. Defeated personnel and equipment of 4 mechanized, airborne assault, 2 airborne assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements Dmitrov, Krasnoarmeysk, Krasny Lyman, Rodinskoy, and Muravka of the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 385 servicemen, 5 combat armored vehicles, 4 cars, and 3 artillery guns. Units of the East Group of forces advanced into the depth of the enemy's defense. Defeated formations of a mechanized brigade, an assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a Marine brigade in the areas of the settlements Vorono, Novopetrovskoye of Dnipropetrovsk region, Dorozhnyanka, and Algovskoye of Zaporizhia region. The enemy lost up to 225 servicemen and 11 vehicles. Units of the Dnieper Group of forces inflicted defeat on personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Stepnogorsk of Zaporizhia region, Mykolovka, Lvovo, Tyatjinka, and Antonovka of Kherson region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost up to 65 servicemen, a Western-made combat armored vehicle, and 9 cars. 3 electronic warfare stations and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian armed forces groups inflicted damage on Ukraine's port infrastructure used in the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine, a drone manufacturing enterprise, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 162 areas. Air defense means shot down 158 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 666 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 81,130 unmanned aerial vehicles, 627 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,922 tanks and other combat armored vehicles, 1,589 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 29,167 field artillery guns and mortars, 40,904 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.